Shut up and sit down.
All these dialed guys are super strong, beef mountains.
Run around my bicycle, no matter where I go. I'm gonna take it fast, I'm gonna take it slow. I'm gonna go over there, over that log and tree. I'm gonna take it to see you, I'm gonna take it to see me.
What's kickin' little chicken? You are listening to the Dialed Podcast with Matt Legrand, Evan Price, Lance Hapler, and Jake Von Turing. Tip of the day from a quote by Abraham Lincoln. Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. It's never too soon for some good old-fashioned preparation.
Can't go far on a bike with no radio star. So I strap my Walkman straight to my handlebars, duct tape and roses, cameras and air guitars. People laugh, people holler. I don't care. This ain't fair. It's war up there with the mustache and pantyhose. It's cold out there with their mustaches.
Woohoo, bikes.
Hi, and welcome back to the Dial Podcast. I am Jake Von Turing, and today I'm here with Evan Price.
We got a lot of drinks here today. What is everybody drinking today?
I got a plethora of drinks here.
does.
I've got a sparkling water. I have another
sparkling?
sparkling water, which is mandarin and lemon, different flavors. And I also brought a coffee from Hidden Rivers Roasters in
I was
Camas,
just looking
Washington.
at that.
Yeah,
That's a neat looking
that's
little
in
mug there,
Camas?
too.
Yeah.
This is my wife's mug. She actually picked up the coffee for me, and it's like a latte with like almond milk or something. I don't know. It's pretty good.
I need to check that place out.
You should have a sip.
Let's give it a shot.
Yep. What you sipping on, boy? That's my favorite.
And that would be Mr. Matt Legrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? How are you guys doing?
Good.
Very good.
You
Excellent.
feel better
Very
after
well.
that sip of coffee?
That was
Evan?
great, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
And evidently, the Mediterranean has better Wi-Fi than we do. Mr. Lance Romance.
This Lance Romance. I am on location today, coming at you from. Where am I?
International Man
No
of
one knows.
Mystery, Lance.
I'm confused. I'm so confused.
That should be our main topic.
actually
Where is Lance today?
Lance doesn't even know where he is. I'm somewhere in the middle of the Mediterranean Ocean, in between Italy and Croatia right now. So,
What's the weather like there? Is it
So-
pretty warm?
it's like in the 70s. Although today we spent the day in a town called Split, Croatia. It has a really cool 1700-year-old
Wow.
castle area that was really cool to kind of explore. And it was kind of rainy all day today. So
Oh, okay. Are you guys gonna
But-
do like Greek island type
yeah.
stuff?
we're going to Greece in a couple of days.
Okay.
In a couple of days. And we're actually going on a mountain bike tour that day.
No
I am
way.
going to do some mountain biking in Greece.
Sweet.
So
That's going
That's
to be
the
tough
plan.
to beat.
but it's going to be tough because I think it's about 9 miles and we have 4 hours to do it.
9 miles,
So-
4 hours.
So how many times are you going to repeat that loop then, Lance? Is what?
It will be interesting.
I'm
That's
wondering
good.
what kind of mountain bikes they're gonna have for him. They're gonna be
Yeah.
like, here's this
Yeah.
Walmart mountain
60,
bike.
65 pounds.
Exactly.
You can carry everybody's food.
Where's my-
I don't
Lance.
care what it's going to be. Lance is going to look like a hamster in a hamster wheel going around in circles
Yeah.
on everybody.
Exactly.
You'll have fun.
It's true.
You should
I want the
challenge.
GoPro on you, and I want to see how many times you just ride around
Yeah.
circles around the group.
We're going to have to see. You're going to have to challenge some Greek mountain
They
bikers. We're going to have to see the
stopped.
quality of Greek
That's a
mountain
good
biking.
idea.
All right, let's get our back pedal started. Lance, why don't you start us off, babe?
Let's see. This last week, I actually raced a couple times. I raced on Monday night and I raced on Tuesday night at Portland International Raceway. Had just fantastic fun times both nights. Sacrificed my own results both nights to help teammates, and both nights teammates won the races. So that was just super great to be a part of that, to be a part of a team and to help lead a guy out on both nights. And it was just the cool stuff. I really enjoyed it. So raced really hard Monday night and Tuesday night. And then just I rode with Jake Thursday, I think, before I left.
Yep.
We went out for, and I caught some flack because Jake and I just went out screwing around for like an hour and a half, and Jake actually led me out for one little segment to try to get the KOM on, which I did get. And then people hassled me because I was getting leadouts for KOMs. They're like, you get leadouts for KOMs? Like, when somebody offers it, yes, of course I get leadouts.
Well,
awesome.
For that one in particular, yes, they
Isn't
can
it-
give you crap, haha. That's all fun and games. But you still that's a steep little climb. And
I mean, it's basically a sprint KOM though, then, right? Like a little steep pitch.
it's very steep. It's about what is that? About an 18% grade, 19% grade when you hit
Yeah,
that.
it's a super steep 18% grade, one little steep pitch.
Yeah, I just got up
But
to the
it
base.
was only
Go ahead.
You got
it
him
was
there
only
fast.
it was only like 20 seconds or something like that. And we came around the corner and Jake's like, "Hey, you just get on my wheel and I'm gonna ramp it up and you go for the KOM up this thing." I'm like, okay. How long is that? I didn't even know how long it was or anything. It was
You're a
kinda
climber
funny,
now.
but we got
Lance. You're a climber now, Lance.
no, it was.
And I thought
18 seconds.
I thought somebody else had the KOM when I went back and looked. It was
no.
our teammate Whitney Phillips.
Oh.
So,
Whitney had
it's
it.
like, oh, sorry,
Yeah.
Whitney.
Yeah, shots fired.
Yeah. Whitney's now it's on. He's gonna crush all of your KOMs.
Yeah.
There you
It's
go.
over.
Whitney's gonna grab one of the Chris's for a lead out here and get a lead out train and grab that back.
There you go.
That's right.
Yeah, I can
So
understand.
that was fun. I got to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to ride with Jake a little bit, which was awesome, and we had a good time. So
I remember you guys sending out a message for that ride, and like I was like, "Can I'm watching kids?" And like my wife like said she saw the like as she was pulling into my house to like switch swap off. She said she saw the dial group leaving, and I was like, "Oh, I could have caught that group.
oh,
Could have rode with you guys next time."
Definitely next time.
Then you flew out on Thursday.
but I flew out on Friday
okay.
morning. Yeah, Friday morning, flew through Germany into Venice, Italy, and then spent a couple days in Venice, Italy. I'm on a trip with my wife and a couple of my sisters and their husbands. It's our 25th wedding anniversary, so we are traveling through 6 or 7 countries here in Europe
Wow.
to celebrate our 25th anniversary. So a lot of walking and a lot of stuff. We're just kind of enjoying ourselves. So it's all good.
We've been following the Instagram, and looks pretty good. My wife's quite jealous of your lifestyle.
Yeah, I am very jealous of. Well, actually, your marriage has been almost as long as I've been alive, so I guess you do deserve
There you
a
go.
much better trip than I do. So
Oh. Hey, Lance, did you take your vector pedals and your iPad so you can hop on
yeah.
Zwift?
I guess we talked about that. If you haven't checked Strava, I just posted a Zwift workout about 2 hours ago.
Nice.
Actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
How'd
So
that
yeah,
work out?
I took my. It worked pretty good. I mean, the Wi-Fi, as you can hear, is almost good enough to make it work. And so, I took my vector pedals. I brought a little short wrench to change, and I was able to get the pedals off the spin machine, the spin bike in the workout place, and put my pedals on and hooked it up to my iPad, and it worked.
That's
So
awesome.
Cool.
The numbers seem off a little bit, but that doesn't matter too
Check
much.
the-
I'm just trying to
Check the crank
I'm
link.
trying to do enough. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean,
Check the
you know,
crank
it's
link
just a
because
weird.
that'll affect the percentage.
what's
of,
your average exercise bike crank like? Do you think
I don't know.
Oh,
one
I have no idea.
175 would be my guess, or are they shortening them up a little
I
bit?
bet you they shorten them up.
I would
bet you
say
it's something-
shorter,
I bet you
too.
they're
Okay.
weird. I bet they're like 165 or something really weird.
Be able to service a wider diversity,
Yeah.
or wider diverse crowd.
That's true.
Just look and see
That
if
might
it's stamped
be.
on the inside of the crank arm.
Yeah.
So, cool.
You can't even see the inside of the crank arm.
Oh, really?
That should
like,
be one of
oh,
our
you're
out of
polls.
luck.
Oh, we should take like a bet on that. Like, what do we think the actual? I'm gonna go even lower. I'm gonna say 155.
Yeah.
I'm
might
gonna say
be able
because
to-
they can. Yeah.
Might be able to look it up online, find out what the make and the manufacturer is,
Yeah.
and just see
Yeah,
what those
maybe.
things come stock with.
May have to Google that during this at some point.
There you go. All right. Hey, Evan, you want to backpedal?
My back pedal is going to be by far the least interesting, and I am so excited about it. I did basically nothing this week,
That's awesome.
like almost nothing.
I was
I
like-
think I worked out 4 times.
Evan, can you work out? No.
Oh wow.
No,
I can't do it.
no, I was just like, I can't. It was great, 4 times. I did other things. I hiked Dog Mountain and actually got to see the wildflowers, which was fun.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
That's like 4 times is like a normal person. Like that's how much
Yeah.
a normal person would work out in a
It
week.
felt great.
Maybe more than a normal person.
I don't know. I think actually, yeah, if I was to go by averages, I think it's 3 times a week for 30 minutes is the national average generally. So
Did you get good sleep?
I got great sleep all week.
Good.
Yeah, I ate all the foods I hadn't ate in like the last 3 months.
So is this a preseason break? Like
this is
mid-season break?
Yeah.
Like what is this?
I'm going to start working these into the future. So I had a friend of mine, Cody, who raced ITU Pro for a little bit. He was a buddy of mine back in Ohio who I lived with for a while. And I remember in the couple years he was pro, he always took 1 week in like June at some point where he did nothing.
Yeah.
Just like it was just his mid-season break. And I've even looked and seen that there's actually quite a few pros that do that. I know Ben Hoffman used to do that.
Oh, really?
There's quite a few names of guys who will pick 1 week during the summer where they just don't do anything.
You should do some interesting stuff like follow your resting heart rate and see if you see some changes. Because I wonder if it's one of those things where it's like, yep, overtraining all the time, and then all of a sudden you see a dip or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be interesting to see.
And it was weird because I got back in the pool after not having been in the pool for 4 days, expecting just to be terrible in the pool. Like I was expecting after 4 days off, I was like, oh, I'm going to be awful. No. Felt great. Yeah, I was like sprinting like 36, 37 second, 50 meters, like still doing okay. So, yeah, we'll see. I haven't been on the bike in like 6 days, so today will be my first day back on the bike. I had to do some stuff this morning, so I'm back to training this afternoon and evening.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that because I want to see what your bike plans are. Alan Plank wants to bike too. So
yeah, I've got some serious work to do on the bike here coming up. Yeah, but yeah, it was a fun, boring week.
Cool.
Did you like hang out with your girlfriend a ton or?
She's in Denver this weekend.
Okay.
So yeah, during the week I did though. Yeah.
Okay.
And we were in Tennessee together, which was awesome.
Yeah,
so Cassie was there being a champ and just honestly being like it's so important to have somebody at those races that's helping you out. Absolutely. Oh my God. Yeah. Can't even express how awesome that is.
Cool. Matt, backpedal.
My week has been horrible.
Uh-oh.
Oh no. I don't remember who I was talking to. It's
you worked out more than I did.
But here's the thing, like, so I think the last time we did the podcast, I was like, oh man, I ran with my buddy JP and he's in town and we hammered, blah, blah, blah. Ever since that run, my Achilles was like hurting. Like, so I've been having like calf problems like the whole season, but that like, this is different. This is like a specific spot on the Achilles, like, and it hurts. And so then I tried to run on, like I gave it a couple of days and I think I tried to run on like Wednesday or something like that. And it hurt. Like, and I was like, okay, this hurts. I'm going to turn around early. So I did 2 miles, hurt. Then I was like, all right, well, should I even try on Sunday or should I give it like a full week to rest? Tried on Sunday, ran 3 miles, hurt. Like it just keeps getting worse. And so
I think I've got something for you. I think I do. We're not going to talk about it on the air, but I think
totally.
I think I got something for you.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be best friends.
Start doing.
Yeah. I think we're going to be best friends for sure. For some.
Yeah.
I got you a 6-pack of beer. That should make it feel better.
I think that's going to help the most, actually.
So I mean, it's just depressing because it's like, you know, I need to be running a certain amount, maybe, or maybe not. Maybe like this Ironman is just going to be like, I'll hammer the swim, hammer the bike, and just plan on walk jogging. And honestly, it might be more fun that way. And it might be more like I'll fast, like recovery wise, like I don't get that sore from hammering the bike. Like I might be a little sore the next day or the next 2 days, but you really get beat up from like those hammering of like when you run a marathon hard. Like that's when you're like, I'm going to need like a week off and I'm going to need to take it easy for the next 3 weeks after that. So it's like, maybe this Ironman is just not going to be
You're 60-ish days out from this?
Yeah. I know.
Still a lot of days. Bummer. Still a lot of days.
Yeah, and honestly, like...
There's still time.
There's still time.
There
but
is.
So I'm still scheduled to race my first triathlon on Sunday.
Blue Lake,
so almost
right?
a week. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And I basically decided that I'm not going to run until I get off the bike and like throw the race shoes on, and I'm going to run the 10K. And I think I'll do okay, which I know is a weird thing to say. Like maybe I'm stupidly optimistic, which I think is definitely the case. But it's one of those things where it's like I think that if I can get the swelling to go down, like I run okay even when I'm not training that much. It's not going to be a great race, but I kind of want to just get past it. Do it. I could just skip it too. Like that's the other thing I could do. I could skip the whole race and do a long bike ride, which might be good for me. I don't know.
You could do the swim.
But you've already paid for this race, right? You're already registered.
I get all these races for free. I get to do all these races for free.
You've already done like really good bike workouts though, so I think just testing it off the bike, see how it feels at that point is worth it. I think it's more.
Yeah, and if it's a big fat nope, go jump back on your bike.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. I could do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Lance.
And you still need like the transition practice and make testing all your race gear stuff again just to make sure it's all going. So
one of the things I was complaining to my wife about because I complain a lot was like I'm only racing like 3 times this season.
Yeah.
which is crazy because it's like I like to race myself into shape.
Yep.
Like I don't feel like I'm gonna have raced enough. I mean, unless you count that duathlon that I did.
See,
which,
this is where I'll give you some confidence. Like I'm the exact opposite. I like training myself into shape and only racing a couple times. I know you've told me you like that kind of racing and feeling that sort of fitness build. I mean, you've been building a really good bike fitness. I'd rather you go and surprise yourself on a race day than try and race yourself and get into that mental game.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I need to probably like lose some weight still. There's a lot of stuff that I can still do. Get this swelling down and hope for the best, and try and hope things turn around towards the middle of the season. And if it's not a great triathlon season, then that's not. And
just quit triathlon and start riding bikes more.
I know, cyclocross, right?
Yeah,
that could happen. Sure. Take your bets now, guys. Could happen.
Yeah.
But just before this podcast, like right before this podcast, I did an open water swim, and it's hard to be depressed when you go and you get to swim in like the open water, and you're surrounded by like pine trees and beautiful water. And I got to swim with one of our friends, Nate, and his wife Julie, and it was just super cool. And there were a couple other people out there that I knew that just happened to be out there at the same time. So it was it was awesome. And Jake's wife also swam before we got there. I didn't actually get to see her out at the lake, but man, we're getting towards some really cool summer activities, which open water swimming is my favorite.
Yeah, she was out there with a bunch of her friends. I think there was like 4 or 5 of them, if I'm not mistaken, and then a bunch of them got out of the water and went and rode bikes, and then went for a run. So they did their little mini triathlon today.
Wow.
So good confidence booster for them.
So I can't complain too much. Life is good.
Yeah.
Hey, and Fallen Leaf Lake is, like you said, it's tough to have a bad day when you can go and swim in Fallen Leaf Lake.
Man. You almost always get out and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like $1 million. So
I'm like looking forward to get back into that.
Jake, you could splash your feet in there and you'd come out and you'd be like, you're right. I do feel good.
Maybe I need to get a stand-up paddleboard or something like that.
That's what I was going to say. Is like maybe
yeah, I can come out there and get a little bit of a workout, and I can help like spot people or make sure everybody's safe. I don't know if I'm going to save anybody out of the water.
I think I just want to try the stand-up paddleboard on there just because it'd be pretty cool.
So on Thursday, we'll have people over at the Fallen Leaf Lake swim series thing that I put on, and we'll have at least two stand-up paddleboards out there. So anyone that wants to try it can take the stand-up paddleboards and go out there.
I'll be happy to come out and do that, and I'll take some pictures too if you guys want.
Oh my gosh, that'd be fun. Awesome.
Yeah,
pictures and maybe video.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
All
awesome.
All
yes.
I may need to sneak over after work.
Yeah, you do have to. You have to.
All right, I'm going to sneak in my backpedal here real quick before we get into the Leadout news. Went out to PIR on Monday, and everybody's texting here. Sorry about that.
Ding, ding.
And did not race just because I was dealing with not feeling 100% still.
Yeah.
And there was a threat of rain, but never really came to fruition. But got to watch my son race again.
I was about to ask about Barrett.
Yeah, he did really good. It was a little bit more of a challenge for him this week because he had a pretty stiff headwind, and he got a little bit of separation from some of the older kids. And that was his goal, was to hold on to some of the older kids. He's 9, almost 10, and he wanted to hang with the kids that were like 12 and 13.
I thought he wasn't even allowed to race until he was 10.
Race age 10.
Oh,
your race age is the age that you turn. So this year he's racing.
So he's actually like probably the youngest kid out there then, isn't he?
Pretty darn close.
Yeah, I was gonna say
there might be another kid out there that's not that same range, but most of the kids are about a year or two older than him. So he did well. I mean, he didn't have his same mile per hour jump up, but he did well. He felt what it was like to ride into a little bit of a stiff headwind, and he went out there and got his stuff done. Got to take a bunch of pictures of him.
He got a lesson in that miles per hour don't always matter, and that's
exactly. So he understands now how much how important it is to stay on somebody's wheel, especially when there's wind in your face. So
wow.
And then the next night came around, Tuesday night, and I went ahead and pinned down a number. Went out there and raced in the Open 1-2-3s. That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
It was a little bit sketchy. There were some people out there that were just kind of riding a little bit loosey-goosey and kind of bombing into lines where they didn't necessarily belong, and people just kind of doing some kind of squirrely things, but everybody managed to keep the rubber side down, no crashes, and I think I managed I think it was 8th place finish out of a field of 72 or 73 people.
That's good. I'm surprised. I figured you'd kind of just chill out towards the back, but 8th place, that's up there.
Yeah.
And those are the big dogs.
That's a big field of guys in 1-2-3. So
this is Jake is back to his. At least your legs are close back to that.
They're getting closer.
Yeah.
They're getting closer, but there's still some work to do, which is good for me. Like knowing that I'm not 100% and I'm still able to go out there and kind of hang. That's like, all right, we just got to keep plugging away at this, and
makes me feel a whole lot better from when our butts get kicked by him on the rides. It's like, oh, thank goodness, at least he's one of the best in the region, one of the best regions in the country. So
when you're out there, I'm still learning all the different people because there are some seriously strong guys out there, and like figuring out which wheels you need to be on in the right spot, and like which preem laps you want to try and put an effort out there, because there's some guys that they can go for it every single time, and they're going to finish in the points almost every single time, and they're in that same position at the finish. So I don't know if I'm going to beat that 20-something-year-old guy that's just got legs for days and whatnot, but it's still fun to get out there and mix it up with them.
Some teams need to pick those guys up or something then.
And then like Lance said, we did a ride, and then it was fun kind of leading him out. I know he got a little bit of flack for that, but I'll take some of the blame for that because that was partly my idea. and not for nothing, it was not a cakewalk for Lance when he did that. He finished that, and I think he was squealing for about the next 5 minutes trying to catch his breath. It was pretty funny.
I was gassed. I was wheezing and we still had to climb up the rest of this hill, and I was back there wheezing for like 4 minutes.
Yeah, it was pretty ride though. It was fun.
I was wheezing so much that Jake kind of circled back to me and says, "Are you okay?"
What was your 20-second power there, Lance?
Oh, it was probably over 1,200 watts. I'm not sure.
I don't understand how you guys put out that much watts. I was watching Alan Plank's video. He posted a video and he was doing some sprints at PIR and stuff like that. It's over like it was like same kind of thing, like 1,200 watts. And I'm like, if I get half that, I'm happy.
I probably need to figure out how to do that, but yeah.
All right, let's jump into some Leadout news. Evan, why don't you kick us off? Because I think you want to talk about the Giro. Give us an update.
The Giro. There has been no shortage of drama in that Italian race.
I haven't watched anything in the past week, so I know nothing. It's gonna be awesome to get an update.
So here's the what's been going on with the Giro lately is. There is so Roglic is still in very good place. I think the last time we discussed this, Primož Roglic was still in prime contention. Actually, at that time, he was probably still in the pink jersey, which is the leader's jersey. Since then, there has been the Giro this year is so brutally tough in the stages that there's so many mountain stages.
Right.
It's not that the mountain stages are, and I mean they're hard. Don't get me wrong. It's not like there's any one that's like wildly harder than any stage that they've had in the past. It's the density of how many mountain stages they have, and what's been going on is Primož and Nibali, another favorite, really the two favorites being those two guys, and probably Simon Yates pre-race he's still within touching distance, but he had a rough start to the mountain stages. Nibali and Roglic have been kind of just watching and tracking each other, and anybody who even when we're talking about local races, if you're in a race and let's say you're racing Jake, all eyes are on Jake in that race. Sure. And that plays with sometimes somebody who's strong can get away then. Yeah. Because all attention is on one or two people. Yep. And, Movistar has kind of slid into that role of being a team that has a gluttony of great climbers. Yeah. So in these mountain stages, they've been attacking left and right. And right now in the yellow is they have... God, I'm going to get the guy's name wrong. Richard Carapaz, which is a really, really good climber from Movistar and had a great day on one of the mountain stages and has kept that gap, actually. So now going into stage, I believe, 16 here, which is a rest day.
Okay. They have another time trial. I don't know if...
They do to finish the race. Okay. To finish the race, gotcha. They have a time trial, which is a really... interesting thing because so coming up there are going to be 4 really, really tough mountain stages. Okay. And then the Giro ends on a time trial. So here's the game that Roglic is trying to play.
But Nibali's not a superstar time trial. I mean, he's good, right?
He's good, but he's not as good as Roglic is right now.
Much better. Yeah.
But I was just reading an article where they talk about it's hard to predict these time trials at the end of 3-week stage races. Yeah. Because if Roglic has to burn matches, he could be in trouble on that third. He's 47 seconds right now back from Carapaz.
Okay.
And
which is could be. I mean, I don't know how long the time trial is, but
yeah,
and there's potentially be that.
And there's just so many really good climbers right in the top 10 right now. You have, Zacharine is right outside of the top 10, who's a Katusha rider who has won a stage already and has shown that he can climb very well. Simon Yates is 8th. Boca Malema is in 6th place, Mikel Landa in 5th, Rafael Maica in 4th. So you've got a lot of dangerous climbers all within striking distance.
Okay.
if on any of those 4 mountain stages somebody gets away, Roglic is going to have to make it up on the time trial day.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what,
it's a hard way to do it.
It's a hard way to be under pressure the way that he's been for 3 whole weeks. So it is going to.
Yeah, but Roglic has been great time trialing all year, and Nibali not so much. So and he's got 10-year younger legs than Nibali too. So
and I agree with you, Lance. If I was Roglic, I actually wouldn't be scared of Nibali right now. I would be more scared of the climbers that are behind him. I'd be more scared of somebody launching an attack from early in one of these mountain stages. But right now he's in pretty nice position. He's in second place. We'll see how the next stages go, but there's 5 big days coming up that are going to be very important to the race. So stay tuned, everybody. Next time we talk, it's going to be done. So
I'm thinking like Nibali will probably try and make
he's going to have to.
The way that he usually will race is he'll go from 5K out on a climbing stage.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you watch it and you're like, I know what he's going to do. He's going to go at 5K because basically,
or he'll attack on a descent. He gets creative with his attacks.
Yeah. Well, I will be interested because if to make up that much space, he's going to have to go at some point. He will. He can't just counter attack.
Yeah. So this is the nice thing about the way that the race is set up right now is that you have a lot of contenders that have to go at some point. So you're going to get a lot of guys really trying to show their cards at some point in the next 5 days.
How are you watching this? Are you going online and watching stuff?
I use steephill.tv, which does a lot of like 40 kilometers left sort of stuff. Yep. They have a couple full races on there. That, or if you just search YouTube, you can always find it.
Okay.
So I'm usually watching the stages afterwards. So I'm watching them later that day.
It's like in that evening or something like that. And then do you watch it on the trainer or?
Usually on the trainer, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Very cool.
Best way to stay in touch with it.
Lance, I heard you were keeping tabs on a local mountain bike race here, the Sister Stampede down in Bend, Oregon. You got some news for us on that?
Yeah, I do. The Sister Stampede is a 10-year running race. It's always well done. It's a mudslinger event. And we had some teammates that actually did really good. I'm not exactly sure of all the results, but I know what my teammates did. I know that Robert, why is his last name
Cummings? Cummings?
Yes. Yeah, Robert Cummings. He raced in the elite category. I think he took 6th this time. There were a couple of big heavy hitters out of Bend that came and did the race because it's the Sister Stampede. It's just right next to Bend, Oregon. Right. And so it pulled some people in from Bend to do that race. So he took that. We had a teammate in the 50 to 55 category, Nate Carroll. He won that division. Another teammate, Chris Weirman, was racing the Clydesdale division, and he won that division. And in the category 2 men's 40 to 49 division, we had a teammate, Terry Hamness, that took 4th by just a mere 12 seconds. He was quite upset that he didn't make the podium. He missed it by 12 seconds.
Wow.
A 2-hour race. He missed the podium by 12 seconds. So he was kind of kicking himself for that. And then we had some juniors race. Hayden Weirman, I think he took 2nd in his division behind Ian Brown, who's this 14-year-old national champion from Bend, Oregon.
He's
so
a phenom,
but he did pretty well. And that's the results I know.
That's awesome.
Cool.
14 years old?
Yes, he's super fast.
He's
He's the one when we went out and did the Echo mountain bike race.
Yeah.
Myself and Chris Surratt and Terry Hamness and a few other guys. They let our category go, and he was racing in the Cat 2s, and he was lumped in with us. And myself and Chris kind of broke off the front, and he was right there third wheel, and we pulled him for about the first 3 or 4 miles, and then he came around us and was like, "See you later." And that was the last I saw him. The kid is wicked fast for just a young guy. So
wow,
jeez,
stupid fast.
Yeah.
Matt, do you have some news?
I don't have a ton of news for our Leadout segment. In our, I would say, like in our extreme local news, I am doing. I'm putting on this open water swim series in Camas, Washington, and it's basically we're gonna have 3 races, and they're completely free. So anyone that wants to practice open water swimming, get used to open water swimming, any of that sort of stuff. come and check it out. They're going to be the first one will be this Thursday. That's May 30th, and that is it's going to be like warm up at 6:00, race at 6:30. It's only 1,000-meter swim, which may sound like a lot to some of you guys, but you should definitely come out there and try it because it's going to definitely be kind of that like party family atmosphere. Bring family, bring kids, bring friends, because we're going to cook out and it's going to be a really fun occasion. And then we'll do it only twice more throughout the season. And that's going to be June 10th and July 11th. Cool. So it should be pretty fun.
And it's an absolutely stunning venue.
Oh my gosh.
Fallen Leaf Lake in Camas is just stunningly beautiful.
Yeah.
You guys have all of your buoys set up. You've got good support there.
Yep.
Great mentors. So this is a come one, come all kind of thing for those that are into it. So
and even if you're not necessarily like planning on swimming, you should come by and just have a burger or something, whatever people are grilling.
Yeah.
So it should be a very fun time.
Oh, yeah.
You can meet the podcast crew.
Yeah.
Everyone except for Lance, and no one wants to see Lance anyway.
Exactly. He's the international man of mystery.
right.
If he was at there, the mystery would be done. So yeah,
There'd be no mystery. Yeah.
I'm sure he'll be back for one of them. Maybe he and I can come out there on the SUP boards and
Yeah.
that
smack
would be
people
cool.
with the
Yeah, I
paddles.
like it. I like it.
Just a quick bit of news here from me. American Airlines has joined Alaska Airlines as another cycling-friendly airline. They
I
have
read about
dropped
this.
their rates,
Really?
and they are now offering bikes
This is
to
big
fly
news.
for
This is huge.
This is
$30.
really big news.
$30 each way for your bike. So it's just like
Do you want to know
checking
what
another bag.
Southwest charged me for Chattanooga?
$75, right?
I wish it was $75.
Oh, is it more than that?
I wish more people listen to this so I could just like bash Southwest right now. $150 one way, $150 on the way back. Unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Southwest should be ashamed of themselves.
I thought
They're
they were.
terrible.
I thought they were in the $75
No.
each way, but that's terrible.
$150 for the bike, another $30 for the wheels that I brought.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
They're
terrible.
There are other companies that are charging upwards of $200. I think it's United Airlines, and they.
Oh my gosh.
It's like they don't like their passengers, and they don't like you to. They
No.
don't like their bikes either.
I have so many reasons to not like Southwest now, too.
Really?
Not only did they make me sprint across Detroit Airport, they also are charging ridiculous fees for bikes. Ridiculous.
And just to give credit where credit is due, Alaskan Airlines has done really well. They're
so
similar, like
good.
$30 or something.
Yeah, they're the ones that set
No.
this whole precedent. Yeah.
So
And
actually,
so-
Alaska, when I flew with Alaska for Santa Cruz last year, we said, hey, this is a bike, it's sporting equipment, $0.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if everybody gets that, but they said $0.
Yeah.
That was because it's sporting equipment.
tried every trick in the book, and it's generally $30.
do they generally give you 30?
Well, actually, I think. Yeah, it's always been $30 from my memory. I've only had like once or twice. I was fortunate to get like my hands on a first class airline ticket from them, which was kind of nice. And because of that, they gave me like free baggage in general.
I was definitely not
so
flying
they,
first class,
Yeah,
so.
they let me put my bike on there, so for free. But otherwise, it's always been.
It also depends on how good of a mood the gate agent is in.
They must have been in a great mood. I must have been smiling really, really wide. I don't know. Yeah.
They're like, "Are you a pro triathlete?"
No, that's not all
They're
of
like
it.
back of the plane.
Like, I don't even know what that sport
like-
is.
they're
Is that a
like,
sport?
$200 for your bike, and you need to get in the back of the truck.
Triathlon. Is that like fishing? I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of neat news. One other little one little bit of news here. I don't know if do we care about Nairo Quintana? Did you guys
Oh,
hear
I
that?
care.
No,
What happened?
He's looking to jump and leave Movistar. He's
Leave
going to go
Movistar?
join Andre Greipel's team. That was it Arkia Samsic or something like that.
Oh, yeah. The newer.
In the middle
new
of the
sponsor team.
season?
After this season.
After this season?
Yeah, after this season's up.
Who else
So
is on that team outside of Greipel? I wouldn't even
I
know.
don't know.
I'd have to look at
That'd
that.
be interesting.
I'm trying to think who else is on that team.
Because
now.
that's always been a team that seems like it's been there to support Andre Greipel in
Yeah.
the sprint stages,
Yep.
and that's about it. So
I can't think of a GC contender they've had recently.
So
I could be completely
that
missing
could be
somebody, but
something up with that team. Maybe they're trying to realign themselves and be a little bit more diverse. In terms of who
Movistar's
they
got a
have.
lot of good young cyclists, so maybe
Yeah.
they're a lot of good young climbers, a lot of good young GC contenders.
Yeah.
So it's time to grow.
Maybe they
past
said,
Nairo.
maybe they said something to him like, he's never had like the complete spotlight to himself.
No,
you know?
no, he's always had to share with Valverde or
Yeah,
somebody.
and Valverde earned it because the guy is
absolutely.
crafty.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Quintana, he's a solid guy. I mean, when he first
Yeah,
came
I
on
like
the
him a
scene,
lot,
like
yeah.
everybody was talking about how
He's
much
like-
potential this guy
He's
has.
the next big guy. Yeah.
And I just don't feel like he ever lived up to that true potential. Not to take anything away from
Yeah.
him. He's a
Yep.
spectacular racer.
He was
but-
still a Grand Tour winner, still
Yeah.
a great rider.
Yeah.
But you're right.
Yeah.
Like I think like he was supposed to be the next Contador.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, no. Anyway, I thought that was interesting.
That is.
All right. Today's topic. Guys, are you ready for summer?
Yes.
I think we're ready.
So ready.
Do you think our listeners are ready for the summer?
They better be. I've been getting my burn on. I've
you?
been getting my tan lines crisped.
Yeah, I know,
while I was in
right?
Chattanooga,
That's
and then I
the-
ruined them this week. But still, I'll
The
get back
best
to it.
is like the bike tan line.
Oh, yeah.
We should
Keep 'em
spend the
sharp,
next-
keep them crisp.
So we should spend the next hour talking about bike tan lines.
Are you ready for the summer? Only bike tan lines.
Oh,
But
yeah.
here's the thing that I know cyclists hate about triathletes is the varied tan lines that a triathlete will go
You
through.
guys have like 17 tan lines.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
I like the cyclist just committing to one length
line.
tan line.
I like that
I
too.
have like 4 different lengths tan line.
The
It's
problem
bad.
is the bike tan line. Then you put short shorts on. It is
Yep.
the worst look
Oh, it's
that
terrible.
I can even think of. Like
go into your running shorts after a long bike ride, you look terrible. You look so bad.
Only thing I think of that might be worse is if you were wearing like short jean shorts with a bike tan line.
That
like
could be
Lance.
sweet.
Lance, what are you wearing right now? By the way, is that what you're wearing?
I've got pants on.
He's got his jorts on.
Lance, no pants, jean shorts.
You know,
I'm, no pants. Lance has his pants on.
so when I lived in Southern California, we had summer and we had summer light. So it was pretty much summer year round down there. And it was very few days that you would need anything beyond, just your standard kit.
Yeah.
And sometimes you might have to put on some arm and toe warmers because it
If
dipped
it was
below.
75 outside,
Yeah,
and it was
exactly.
freezing. Yeah, okay.
So on that note, I'm always riding outside. Now I was a big, person to tell everybody wear your sunscreen, and I was always putting it on myself. So whatever, but I'm still like freaking tan.
Yeah.
My shirt tan line from my jersey was so sharp, and I would wear jerseys that had the UV protectant, and I would put it on all over. I was like white because you never, like, whenever I'm out in the sun, I'm wearing a shirt or I'm wearing a jersey, and then the few times we would go to the swimming pool, I would take off my shirt, and little kids that didn't know me would look over and they would start snickering and pointing and saying, "Mommy, Daddy, look at that! He looks like he's wearing a white T-shirt."
Yeah. Or the
it was
greatest,
pretty bad.
The greatest comeback to that is, okay, you can take your shirt off now. I love
Exactly.
that.
But
That joke
it
never gets old.
was a sharp tan line because I always wore the same kit, if you will, or it was by the same manufacturer, so it was the same length, and it looked just spectacular. It was marvelous.
That's so funny.
I had a funny one going last week because I had just gone on a long ride with you, that 100-miler.
Yep.
So I had my cycling kit tan
Yep.
line. Went for a run after that, so I had my running kit tan line.
Oh, man.
And then I went and tried out the Roka speed suit that I had, which is a different tan line. So I literally had a 3-layered tan line.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like, it just got like pinker as it got closer because I'm just like white on my back, completely white.
Just as long as you're not talking about your Speedo thong tan lines, we'll be good.
That was going to be close second. I was considering going on the bike ride in Speedo, but
All right. Just to prove we can talk about anything and jump down any rabbit hole, let's get back on track here. Are you ready for summer? This is our summer guide, basically our summer preparedness guide for you guys to make sure that you're ready for the summer. So we're going to run through a bunch of stuff that we think that you might need to pay attention to, maybe brush up on, or just something you might need to think about as we go into summertime here so that you can enjoy said summertime. So just round table style here again. Who wants to start?
I'm just gonna.
Hey, Jake, before we get rolling, I think I'm gonna have to step out here. It's
What time is
we've
it?
got other things going on here.
It's your anniversary, man.
It's 9:30 here.
Oh, Lance
at
has got to go
night.
hit the discoteca.
Yeah, I gotta go get my party on in the discoteca.
in what port city of Croatia again?
Okay, before we let you go, we're not going.
Croatia.
Before we let you go, do you have any one little tip for summer preparedness?
My biggest thing with summer is you kind of have to be planned. I mean, you had to know what big races you have, what big trips you have, and kind of backfill it from there. But that's with me with no kids and no job. So
Tooth health? Anything about tooth health?
Any one last things from you, Lance?
nothing comes to mind. So it's all good.
Lance, have a wonderful rest of your trip, dude.
Uh-huh.
Can't wait to hear more about
Party
it.
hard, Lance.
Say hi to Brandy for us.
Uh-huh.
Have a good time, and hopefully,
do.
maybe fingers crossed, we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, let's hope.
All right,
Thanks,
bud.
guys.
See you, bud.
Bye, Lance.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Matt, what were you going to say to us, bud?
Here's what I think people should do kind of prior to kicking off their summer season or whatever it is. I think a lot of us, will take full advantage of kind of just having the slightly better weather and things like that, maybe do a bit more biking. And I think everyone should just take a minute and kind of review their flat kit basically like whatever bag they have in their bike.
Yep.
More time outside, yeah.
Yeah, and just, here's what I did sort of recently was I basically just kind of emptied out everything I had, took a look at it, put some of it back in there, swapped some stuff out. And I think it just, I don't think you have to do this necessarily to be prepared for the summer, but I think it's an opportunity to do it and just kind of just check on everything. Because we'll have flats. We're biking longer typically when the weather's nice. And it's just nice kind of going over that stuff and seeing what you have and kind of know. Because I literally had no idea. I was like, what's in here? I don't remember because I haven't looked at it in so long.
I had a broken lever in mine.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah. Completely broken lever.
It's funny
I
because
don't know why I was still in there.
the wintertime, I bike inside so much. I'm just like, I don't know what's in here. Can't even remember.
Yeah.
It's good to take that inventory. Little things too, like make sure that you've got an extra master link in there. Did that fall out when you were changing a flat and you had your gloves on and it was raining and all that other stuff? Just make sure little things like that are in there. That's a good call, Matt. I like that.
Yep.
How about you, Evan?
I think going through, I think somebody had just brought this up, but it's Matt, was it you had just mentioned, like kind of going back through kind of your season goals.
That's Lance, yeah.
Lance, yeah. So I think, whenever January hits, like endurance athletes are not too different than the people who decide to make New Year's resolution goals and go into the 24-hour fitness and everything. We all like to kind of talk about the long-term race goals at that point. Once late May, early June hits, like reassess those ones that you have for like August, September, October. Because making those in June, that is like 10 months outside of that range. So especially in triathlon where I think people plan for races way further in advance than cycling does, because cycling is such a consistent season. I think cycling, it's not the end of the world if you're like, well, I'm probably not going to race that weekend. Triathlon, you race like 4 weekends. It's, you got like a long plan coming out to that. So I think when June comes around, just reassessing that. I wouldn't say, like not everybody needs to take like a week off at any point during the summer, but I know for me that was good to take that off and kind of reassess what direction, you want to going towards that. Summer really lasts through basically October in this region. Yeah, at least the last couple of years. I mean, October has been okay. Summer weather still
for the most part. Yeah, that's when we start to get those touches of rain. But yeah, that's good. I think for me, if this time of year, I mean, today's Memorial Day, and this will come out a few days after that. But it's kind of the unofficial start to the summer, right?
Right.
And as the days get nicer and the days get longer, we're going to go out and do more stuff. Just making sure that you do. Like a good thorough go through of your bike, because a lot of us who live here in the Pacific Northwest are going to ride year round, and we're going to see a lot of crappy weather in the spring and in the winter time. A lot of times bikes will start to break down if you don't spend some time to do a little service, and if that's you taking it to a shop and have them do a full go through on it, or actually just pulling it apart yourself, it's a good time to really just rid your bike of all the little things that can cause a lot of damage to the bike, as well as be a noisy nuisance.
Are you swamped with, or do you have a lot of people that are bringing bikes in for, kind of review, or are you swamped?
Pretty swamped, but I'm staying on top of my stuff here.
Okay, just checking. Yeah. In case I need to bring a bike in for one's over.
Yeah, it's just you just see a lot of like really bad looking rear derailleurs. You see a lot of really bad looking cassettes and bottom brackets. Those are the things that really start to
my road bike is a disaster right now. It's such a disaster.
And going through the winter time too, it's important to stop, and you got to check those brake pads, because grimy roads and wet conditions will chew those things up like nobody's business. So make sure that your brake pads are in tip-top shape. So this is the time of year when I really recommend that, over this past month and into now, that people put in a few extra bucks or set some time aside to, really recondition their bike and make sure that it's set up so that you're going to have a good successful summer riding, and you're going to be doing long distance stuff. You're going to be doing races. You just want your bike to perform the way that it's supposed to.
And a clean bike is a fast bike, which we talked about last week in our last podcast. And so it's worth going through and taking a little time, clean it up.
Yep. All right, we got some more of them?
Yeah. Along with that, this might be a time of year to consider, swapping out different tires. Check the wear and tear on your tire for sure, but you may want to consider switching from something like a Continental Gator Skin, which is very good when the road conditions are deplorable, to something slightly faster, maybe like a Continental 4000 or 5000, which still does have some flat resistance, but is also just a faster tire. This time of year, the roads tend to get a little bit better, a little bit cleaner.
Yeah.
At least that's what I like to tell myself, and I hope that they're getting better and cleaner. And I feel a little more confident riding a tire that's not just built like a tank.
Yeah.
So it's something to consider if you guys, are looking at your tires and thinking maybe they could change. Maybe you could swap them out.
Yeah.
It's worth going with something a little less beefy.
Yeah, this time of year too, a lot of people will actually put on a whole different wheel set as well. So you've got your winter wheels and then you've got your summer wheels, and it's a good idea to make sure that you got a good summer tire on there as well.
Yeah. I'm gonna do a video talking about the NV 7.8 race wheels.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna do
Smooth wheels.
Yep. I need to get out there and ride with those wheels. So that's a race wheel. So that's one of those things where it's like, don't really want to ride that race wheel in the wintertime. But as the summer comes around,
rainy and out at Vancouver Lake, you don't want anything.
I think the way they're
going
building carbon wheels these days, that you can ride around on them, and they're built well. You obviously don't want to destroy them with potholes and things like that, but they're built pretty solid. So
Evan, what's another one?
Another big one is, so I know, and I always have to go through this each year because I'll be honest, during the winter I never really think about nutrition in like any capacity. I'm basically going a 100-mile ride around here, 55-degree weather.
Yeah, you don't feel
cloudy.
dehydrated.
God, you can drink like a bottle or two and be fine in that time period. Now, not so much. With the humidity's picking up. So reassessing kind of what nutrition you've used in the past, reacquainting yourself with actually taking in enough electrolytes during those long runs, because now you'll actually be sweating on the bike. I meant rides, long rides.
Yep.
Because, I mean, when it's 55 out and cloudy, you're really not expelling that much sweat on the bike. You basically have a constant cooling system there. Your body's not going to be pouring sweat.
Yeah, you're definitely sweating. It's just not near the same.
Yeah. Well, and it's evaporating at a really, really fast rate too. So you're not sweating at the same like salt rate that you would be when, let's say, you're doing a Mount St. Helens South Rim ride and it's 85 degrees in August around here. Yeah. So just making sure that you're going through that and staying on top of your nutrition.
Yeah, get all of your stuff pre-stocked up so it's always there waiting and ready for you. Don't just rely on water too on those long rides. You need to put more in your body than just water. So have yourself some calories and have yourself some electrolytes or some sort of mix that you can put in your
I
bottle.
always put at least 1 or 2 beers on my bike. So
I just carry these Polar Seltzer waters or Kirkland because I'm trying so hard for us to get a sponsorship from them. I just put them into my back pockets and just drink them all around.
One of those like vests that the the water bottle vest that they wear in the tour. What are those vests called? I don't know. Anyway,
I know what you're talking about though.
With just Kirkland water.
I saw a couple guys at Kona are using those too. Patrick Lange was using that. He's got the little sleeves inside of his.
Those are like those are like cooling vests. They're different, right?
Oh, are those different?
To cool you down. Yeah, and a lot of times people will use like stocking stuff with ice in there to cool themselves down. I was talking about the tour. Who are the helper guys on the bike?
Oh,
they go back to the cars.
They're handing out the man satchels. Yeah,
is it a man satchel?
Yeah,
they hand out the vest.
Domestiques. The cool
and
ones
they
now
bring
are
the water.
Yeah, so I like the older videos when you would see the guys who would just stuff it down there. Oh, it's incredible.
They still do that. I feel like only a couple teams have like the vest that's specific with all the water bottles.
You get this water bottle from a guy and it's just covered in sweat on your
gross.
That's definitely one of the most unheralded like skills in the pro peloton.
Yeah.
Is those guys' ability to stick 8 bottles somewhere in them. Just somewhere. Like, how do they even... I don't know. It's like they go back to the car and then they like push 500 watts to get back up to the group and then they're just like handing out bottles and going...
They're rolling back onto the Peloton with, God, it's got to be a good like 10 or 12 pounds. That's nuts. So on that same note, take a little bit of time to look at the routes that you're going to go out and do. Most times if you're going to go do a long route, you've got a pretty good idea, but also know where there's going to be places that you can stop and say, get some more food or
fill up.
Yeah, whatever. In bathrooms and all that stuff. So know where those things are at and have a pretty good idea of how far out that's going to be so that you can kind of plan your hydration and your nutrition.
I took Evan on a ride and I'm like, guys, no stops, no water stops until like 65 miles. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I gave him a little bit of warning, but I didn't give I felt like Quinn didn't get much warning on like, hey,
no, I felt bad that we didn't warn Quinn. And this is what, whenever I go on a long ride with people, I do always warn people, like I generally don't stop. Like I just have always trained really, really low fluid intake. I am not saying that anybody should do that. No. It's usually a bad idea, but I've trained that way for years and years.
Yeah.
But when I go on those rides, I do realize some people who don't train that way, we get to mile 60, 70, and they're like, oh my God, where's the gas station? I'm like, we're in full. I have no idea where we are right now. So.
Because we were in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. And it was like, there's nothing until...
Oh, yeah. The full rack ride is, you fun. Really get out there. It's an awesome ride, but there's not a lot of gas stations. Yeah, there's not a lot of gas stations on that stop.
Be aware. Know where those things are at.
That's good advice for sure.
Or ride with a bunch of people and just hope somebody's going to give you water.
That's
at
what
some
I was
point.
like, Quinn, here you go. Here's an extra water bottle. Just drink it, buddy. Like, we're a long ways out.
Yeah.
So this time of year, there are a lot of clubs and teams that are looking to grow, and they're bringing new people on, and they're actively putting on rides and doing different events and whatnot. This is a good time of year to connect with somebody. It doesn't matter what team or what club it is. Do a little bit of research, see if they're going to be a good fit for you, and go join up with them. And they're going to be a great way to have a fun time during the course of your summer, because they're going to be doing long rides, they're going to be doing races and different events. Go out there and find some of those folks. It's a good time of year to do it.
I agree with that. Perfect timing. And a lot of them aren't necessarily like teams. Like I'm thinking like the Vancouver Bike Club, where it's just like, this is just a club that meets in. It's not like it's not like you're paying a membership fee or you're racing with them or anything like that. They just do rides together. And once you at the beginning of this season or summer, if you think of it that way, you get to know some of these people, and it makes it so much more fun to go like, we go ride and we go do these things, and you have the whole summer to do it.
And it's pretty organized too for the Vancouver Bicycle Club. I'd say they're probably one of the more organized people when it comes to having all of their rides posted on the calendar. They have it up posted on their website, which is quite nice. And people consistently show up to all of those rides, and they go out there and they have a good time. It's a good training place too.
I'm a big fan of that group.
So am I. We have a lot of people on our team that are a member of that club as well. And for the club stuff, that's perfect. And for the more race curious people, they jump on over and join Dialed. So there's a lot of people that are kind of commingling with both of those. It's fun. So just take some time, hop on the old Google, and see where there's one close to you.
Check them out.
Yeah,
absolutely. Ton of rides in this region.
And then the people that are here in the Pacific Northwest in the Portland area, you can hop on obra.org, and you can go on to the team directory, and you'll find, I think the last I looked, there was over 50 teams listed on there that are active for this season. And that will actually grow as we go through the summer, because a lot of the mountain biking teams that will come out and do short track, or the teams that are very cross-centric, they'll pay their dues and they'll get added to the thing. So by the end of the season, fingers crossed, we hit 100. I don't think it's going to happen this year, but it's a good place to go find people that are like-minded, and they usually have a pretty good little bio about themselves. And if not, there's contact information in there. You can send them a message and say, hey, where are you located at? What are you guys into? Good place to connect. So cool. Matt.
All right. So when I first read the topic, are you ready for summer kind of stuff? I'm thinking what everyone else is thinking too, which is like sunscreen, right? Like, so sunscreen, we'll just talk about sunscreen for a second. Sunscreen expires. You should probably buy a new round of, and I'm guilty of this because I'm using last year's sunscreen, but sunscreen expires. So you should probably snag sunscreen, like a new set of sunscreen for sure, each year and each season. And one thing that you can do is actually just write like 2019, like right on the sunscreen itself, so that you know, like, okay, this is 3 years old, Matt. It's probably not good anymore. And then when I apply sunscreen in particular, I'm pretty worried about having sunscreen drip kind of like from my head or eyebrow into my eyes when I'm riding, because that burns and it's absolutely horrible and aggravating. And so what I typically do is I'll put it like, below the, I would say below the sunglass line. And that typically helps keep it from, being dripped down and into my eyes and things like that.
You've got a shaved head for those that have never seen you before, and you put it on your head so that your head doesn't burn. Have you thought about...
I don't usually put a lot of sunscreen on my head.
Have you thought about wearing a skull cap?
I have a skull cap, and there's some other things that I'm like very willing to try, and I experimented with, I think last year or 2 years ago, like things that would run the sweat away from your eyes.
The
and
halo,
things like, there's the halo, and there's a couple companies that do some similar things like that.
So I started wearing those probably 8-9 years ago. I wear them almost every single time I ride. And they're even black, and people are like, well, isn't that going to make your head hot? Nope. I sweat quite a bit, and it keeps the vast majority of the sweat out of my eyes, because it does wick it away. Like, it hits that little silicone band that goes across your forehead, and then it makes its way back, and you generally will start to drip off the back behind your ears and the sides. But the skull cap itself gets wet, and it gets very wet. Sometimes like you can wring it out, and there's like a massive amount of sweat that'll come out of that. So you've got the evaporative cooling effect. So it actually helps keep your head quite cool, and in the wintertime, keeps your head warm. So it's just kind of like this nice little thing that I've used for a long time, and I
like those skull caps too.
Quite a bit.
And the other thing with that is like any sort of drips or sunscreen spots or whatever, when it ends up on your glasses,
that's so annoying.
Oh, I hate it. Like, and so I just know like 100 miles, like I'm going to be annoyed with my sunglasses for a big block of it.
I've actually sweat so much coming out of those things that it'll actually start to run down. And you'll feel it coming down the side of your head.
Yeah.
When I know that it's like that, if I actually will, when it's safe and I can do so, I'll look straight down at the ground and I'll push my hand against my forehead, and it will just ring out, and it'll be a stream of sweat that'll shoot out, and like you just make sure that you turn.
All right, we just lost a lot of listeners.
Yeah, it's awesome. That is disgusting, but it will basically wring it out a little bit, and then you've got a good chunk of time before it's going to fill up again. So that's how I avoid trying to get the sweat on the old sunglasses and in the eyeballs. So
sunscreen is good. Sunscreen in your eyes is bad.
Yeah,
that's the moral of that story.
Agreed.
So back to the sun. Try and avoid riding during peak hours as much as you possibly can. When you're out doing a 5 or 6 hour ride, you're going to have a hard time doing that unless you're leaving at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
That's a good thing for keeping some of those UV rays off you. You can cover up. They make arm sleeves, like arm warmers, but they're strictly meant for evaporative cooling and keeping the UV rays off of you. You can wear those on your arms.
Yeah.
Reapplying sunscreen. Matt, your wife is probably a big advocate of sunscreen because she's a medical practitioner. She's looking out for people's health. What do you know about like the frequency at which you have to actually reapply the sunscreen?
It's something ridiculous, like every 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
But like I don't do that on a bike. I don't bring sunscreen with me. So fail.
Yeah.
Fail as a husband.
Probably get
fail
like,
as a...
You could probably get some like little containers, like little travel containers. It's probably not going to take up too much room in your jersey pocket to throw that in there. It might sound kind of cheesy taking sunscreen with you, but I'd rather be called the cheese ball for having a little bottle of sunscreen.
I'll make sure next time you're on that ride, Matt, that you have that. If not, I'll make sure I call your wife.
Call my wife. For a triathlon, what I do is when I first wake up, I put sunscreen, like, just go crazy and put sunscreen on.
Even if you're
in
inside.
the morning. Yeah, well, I am. I wake up and I put a whole bunch of sunscreen on, and so then when I go race or whatever it is, like you're outside a long time, just getting your bike stuff ready, all that stuff you're getting. And then in Ironman races, what you can do if you are so inclined is when you get out of the water, they'll sometimes have sunscreen people, which
really
for our listeners, they're probably like, this is the craziest thing I've ever heard.
No, it's
people
real.
that will put sunscreen on you.
They have them in transition too.
In the transition
the
area.
spray kind, or is it they lather up, giving you like
they
a rub down?
They will lather
you up and
really. It's the funniest thing. If you want to see just a hilarious thing at a triathlon, go and watch the sunscreen tent.
That's funny.
I think for full Ironmans, it's worth, and I don't have them do a ton of sunscreen.
Yeah.
But like back of the neck kind of stuff where you're just going to be like kind of head down, neck exposed to the sun, and you're going to be, certain spots. Like I don't really mind too much if my like legs get a little bit of sun or my arms get a little bit of sun, but like I just think like the back of the neck is so exposed that I just and you're going to be out there a long time, so it's worth kind of swinging through there and having someone slap you in the back of the neck with a little bit of sunscreen, and it doesn't take but like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I think another thing, just to get ready for the summer, and I've been on this track because I've got family history of skin cancer.
Yeah.
I go to the dermatologist every year in the late spring, and I just have my annual checkup and go see Dr. Ma, and she goes through everything. And if there's a problem, then she fixes it, and we go from there. But I think that's a good thing to.
The nice thing though is the Pacific Northwest, at least regionally in America, has the lowest incidence of skin cancer.
Yeah.
So,
but I think in that same breath, a lot of them then forget to put their sunscreen on in the summertime.
That's just as dangerous as
Bad burns. Yeah.
Just go see a medical professional. It's good to have that kind of stuff checked out, especially in the places that you can't. You can't always see, like your ears and your nose and your neck. I mean, those are places that are pretty common for cyclists to get skin cancer, and just got to have a look at that.
Especially
stuff.
the nose. The nose is very, very common. Yeah.
All right, Evan, what's another one?
Good. I'm glad we're off the sunscreen one because I'm being a huge hypocrite over here. Being
well,
like,
didn't we talk about
see sun? Yeah, everybody wear sunscreen. Seriously, everybody should wear sunscreen.
I think so.
Yeah, but another one right now with the summer stuff. So coming into the summer. The other cool thing is I know we're going back to like bike racing here, but this is like my favorite bike racing season for the professional scene, especially because we're in the Tour of Italy right now.
Oh, yeah.
We bump straight into July when you got the Tour de France.
I know.
And then you end it with the Vuelta, which is the Tour of Spain. And you just got these 3 great Grand Tours like back to back to back. The unfortunate, now next year we're going to get this for the summer, is you get the Olympics tossed in there too.
Yep.
And that's just where you have endless supply of like bike racing things to watch.
Why even go outside?
I know.
Just stay in and watch.
Seriously. Yeah. Ride during the day, watch in the evening. We'll go with that.
Okay.
Thank God they're over in Europe too, so you'd have to be waking up super early, but yeah.
That's
fun racing.
That's good. Yeah.
That is good.
Just gotta love it though when you're out on a ride and somebody already knows. And
that's the worst.
Spoiler.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh, has everybody watched it? Did you see Cav?
Did you see what Peter Sagan did today?
Yeah, you ruined it already, man.
Hope you enjoy getting dropped right now, pal.
Yeah, exactly. Or my favorite would be like, especially if it's like a big GC stage or anything like that. And you're like, oh man, did you see what happened to Froome? The tone of voice, like, oh wow, cool, okay.
I already know too much.
So I'm gonna expand upon something that Lance said before he went. Just basically knowing your schedule and kind of backfilling stuff. I'm gonna talk about that just a little bit more because I think that that's one that can easily be overlooked. And there's a couple different caveats to this as well, or different things that I want people to think about. Know your summer schedule, like know what races you're going to do ahead of time as much as you possibly can, and know your traveling schedule. It's summertime here in the Pacific Northwest. I mean, there's just so much to do, and you can get this full on overload. You don't want to miss that, and you also don't want to miss your races. So try and like make everything work, and then go back and backfill with your training rides and the rides that you want to get done, and put those all in the calendar as well, so that you've got a good organized set of like, hey, this is what I'm going to be doing for the next 2-3 months. And you're not going to miss a beat. It's too easy to go through this whole winter training program, get into the spring training program with some spring racing, and almost get a little bit burnout. And all of a sudden you've got all these other things coming up. And next thing you know, you're like, oh, I haven't ridden my bike for 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, whatever it is, just because I've been so busy. So you don't want that to happen. You don't want to get burned out. So if you put something on the calendar, odds are you're going to train for it. So that's going to keep you accountable to your training program. But the other thing is you don't want to script a family trip, or you don't want to put things into your calendar and say, I'm going to do all these training rides, and like, oh crap, I forgot to put this camping trip that we're going on. And next thing you know, I'm not training, and the next thing you know, my results going to be poor. So make sure that to a T, you put it on a calendar, make sure that you understand what it is that you need to be doing, and hold yourself accountable, and tell other people too, so that they'll hold you accountable to that. That's something that I'm personally going to deal with this summer, because I had it all planned out to a T last year, and my whole summer went sideways. So I really want to make up for that. And if I'm not careful, I don't want to burn myself out. I don't want to script a family trip, and I don't want to miss out on having a good result in a race because I was just overwhelmed with too many things going on, or burned out from everything else I'm doing. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's good to, especially with the summer. When you look at the summer, it's basically, let's include part of May in there. You're basically looking at like part of May, June, July, August, and September in this region.
Yeah.
So at least I know for me, and I know not all cyclists would try to do it this way, but I know at least for my schedule, it was good to have a period of the summer where I can have my little brother come out here and we go on fun hiking trips together, which we love doing together each year. You can take that time with your either significant other or your kids, if you have kids, to do a weekend like that. Make sure you go to the coast, especially if you're new to this region. Go to the coast. Like I've only been here 2 years, and some of the most beautiful things I've seen were those coastal mountain hikes over towards Cannon Beach and everywhere out there. Just absolutely worth a weekend. And then set up for me, I'll use myself as an example. I'll be August and the first week of September is my race time period. I have 3. I'm trying to do 3 races in 6 weeks. So knowing that you have that coming up, now I can plan for, okay, late May and June and early June is when I do the hiking stuff. I want to get some of that stuff done, want to go have some fun weekends, and then kind of know that, you got to prepare at some point for, once you're a month out from a big bike race or a big triathlon, you better be really putting in some good weekends.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you know your body pretty well, and that's why you're racing as a professional, and you know your schedule relatively well, and you're probably one of the busier people that I know. You're an anomaly that can get through all of this stuff
I also
without
don't have kids.
Well, that's true. But you can get through all this stuff without the convenience of having a coach help walk you through the whole process. So I'm going to say 9 people out of 10 are going to have a hard time managing their life.
Just communicating with your coach, I think is big. I'm glad you mentioned the coach part, because most people probably listen. Oh, is that good? Do you think most people listening probably have coaches of some sort?
It's probably more.
What do you think for cyclists, Jake? What's it like percent? Because I know for triathlon, I'd say most triathletes have a coach.
I don't know. I'd say maybe half, 50-50.
I'd say that's a pretty
what
high
do you think
number
for cycling.
For cycling, less.
I'd say less. I'd say maybe a quarter.
Okay.
That's my honest opinion.
Yeah.
I think a lot of those people are reliant on talking with their peers, so like a team, and then saying, hey, what are you doing, and then they start to mimic and whatnot.
Group rides training too.
That's another way. A lot of these guys are self-taught through just doing their own online research, like reading Joel Friel's book or going on YouTube and checking out all the GCN videos and kind of learning that way.
I wonder how many people are like Lance, where they're just like, I just go ride. I just go ride a lot, and that does work.
It does work to a certain extent because you're going to ride how you feel, and he's a competitive chap.
Yeah,
he likes to get after it, and
you
if
got
he's
a certain personality to be able to train well that way.
If he's not feeling it, he takes a day off or a complete day off, or he'll just ride it easy. That's kind of how a training program is going to flow.
It is.
So
it is.
But yeah, I'd say like if you're really a competitive person, you want to put a lot of stuff on the calendar. You want to make sure that you're as efficient with everything that you're doing as possible. And you want to have that time for your family and to go do your trips and all that other fun stuff. It's probably not a bad idea to seek out the expert advice and guidance from a coach. I think that's a good idea.
Just to keep yourself in check too. I know especially if you're hyper competitive, sometimes you could coach somebody else great.
Sure.
When it comes to coaching, we all like to believe that we're invincible. Yeah. We really do. Like, whether we think it or not, you feel good on a recovery week, and all of a sudden you just ruined that recovery week by going out and doing 3 hard days.
Yeah.
So sometimes having somebody to answer to makes it a little bit easier.
Yep. All right. So Matt, do you got another one for us?
I mentioned that I did an open water swim this morning. I would say, as it's summertime like this is the best time to do open water swimming. Oh, yeah. But you can take the early kind of time frame here or beginning of the summer to kind of same thing with a bike, like make sure everything's functional. Same thing on open water swimming is you may want to make sure that your wetsuit is in proper order. That a lot of people might have like a bag specific to that, their open water swimming stuff.
Glide. Make sure you have glide.
Body glide. It's just like all these things you get to the lake and you've forgotten something, then it's kind of too late. I like this this little flotation thing, and it's bright orange, and the reason it's bright orange is because it floats behind you and you drag it, but it's so that boats don't see you, which is not necessarily always a problem, but it's also there as a little safety flotation thing. If you get in some sort of panic situation, you can grab it.
Sure.
And so I think that some of these things are just kind of worth having on hand. Make sure that you have it. You can put all of that stuff in a specific open water bag. Not that I do that, but I should. Along with your body glide and your wetsuit stuff. And the other thing is it's still not quite super warm here yet. And so in that bag, in your open water bag, you can have some other things like a warmer like thermal cap, or even like booties and gloves and stuff too. If you're experiencing some pretty cold water. Yeah. Just keep all your stuff together and double check at the beginning of each season. So this is the time to do it.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And just to add to that, we've talked about this before in the past. I use a little app, but there's so many apps out there that are list makers or list managers where you can create lists for different things. I've got this one particular app that I use. Unfortunately, I don't think it's in the App Store anymore, but it's still on my phone and it works perfectly, and it syncs via Google and all that other stuff. But there's a million of them out there. Go find one. Make a list of all of the things that you're supposed to have. I still look at that every single time before I go to a race. Not that I'm going to like forget, you're supposed to take a helmet, you knucklehead, but it's a matter of just looking at that and then having that mental checklist of like, did I put that in my bag and it is in the car? So I'll have a list of everything that I would possibly need to go to a race.
Running is like, just bring your shoes, dummy. But like,
correct.
I think you get into biking and triathlon, and there's so much stuff.
There's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of stuff.
Triathlon's like the biggest stressor.
Did you bring your race belt with?
Yeah,
for your, I mean, there's just
your
so
gloves, your
much.
skull cap, your sunglasses. Yeah. There's just a million things. So
everything.
Having that just before you put the car in reverse and pull out of the driveway. Just take a look at that list real quick. It only takes a few seconds, and I can't tell you how many times
I actually have it in my phone. I have a reminder in my phone.
Saved my bacon to run back in the house and get something because it happened to me too many times. Like I'll be driving to an event, I'm like, oh no, did I forget my shoes?
Yeah.
That's happened to me before.
Oh, yeah. It happened to all of us.
I was actually driving away to go and were we? Yeah, this is when we were heading to the airport in Tennessee, and I had decided not to put my wetsuit, I think, in our box that time. Right. Just forgot. Had to drive back real quick, grab it, put it back in before we let out. Luckily, it was like right as I was pulling out of the apartment, I was like, checklist. What do I need? Wetsuit. Wasn't even a wetsuit legal swim, so it didn't matter at the end of the day. But that would have been a serious bummer. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's a good one, Matt. I like that. Evan, you got any more?
No. Summer wise, this is such a fun time of year. It really is. Like, get back out there and like get back with your running group that maybe went away a little bit while it was raining and cold. Get back with the open water. Come do our open water swims here coming up. They're a blast to get in there with people. Fun. And definitely get out and do some group rides together. Yeah, that's the thing that kind of goes away, I think, for some people during the winter. You get into the the Zwifting world or whatever, and you forget that those are actually people you can go outside and ride with too.
Yeah.
And this is the time of year for it.
Well, just as we tiptoe into the start of summer, here in the Pacific Northwest, we're starting to get better days, and they're going to be coming more frequently. On those days, try and take advantage of maybe trying a few new things. Or like learn some new tricks or tips. Like, if you're still riding on flats, maybe it's a good time to go use a clipless pedal and try that out so that you're not out there doing it when the weather's absolutely terrible and it's pouring down rain on you. Just go out there and try something new. So clipless pedals is a good place to go in there, working on some little bike handling skills and techniques.
Cornering this time of year.
If you want to have us send you some ideas of some things that you can work on, ping us on our Facebook page at Dial Podcast, and we'll be happy to get back to you. Or you go check out the YouTube channels that are out there. They'll show you a myriad of things that you can look at and say, oh, that's pretty cool. I want to try that, and go give it a shot, see how you can make yourself a better, cyclist. Or, I'm sure that there's swim stuff, go try a little swim series at a local lake, and people are putting on here in Camas that can help you out with some swim stuff. So that's one. And then another one is, as we get into the start of summer, there's going to be so many opportunities to try different new disciplines. Have you ever done a short track mountain bike race? Have you ever done a gravel ride before on a gravel bike? Have you ever done like mountain biking in general, or trying a triathlon, or just any of that kind of stuff? Don't be afraid to go out there and try that out, because the summertime is a good place to go and actually start to do these things on a more consistent basis where it's fun and safe, that you might actually fall in love with something that you didn't know, and it's going to help break up the monotony of doing the same thing over and over and over again. So I'm kind of feeling personally like not in a rut from mountain bike or road bike riding. I love it, but I need a little bit more diversity. And that's a perfect reminder of like, oh, go out there and finish doing the work on the cross bike that you were trying to finish up, or get on your mountain bike and go for a mountain bike ride. And remember that there are other disciplines. It doesn't have to be super centric on just one thing. So this is a good time of year to work on those things and go find some more stuff.
Absolutely.
Cool. Anything else, guys?
I'm excited for summer.
Yeah, me too. For my last recommendation would be to come visit the Pacific Northwest where we live.
Or don't.
Well, so
because we
don't.
No, it's terrible here. Please don't come. Live here.
I grew up in Alabama, and it's like, and in the summertime there's all this pressure to come home and visit family and all this stuff, and I'm like, this is the time to stay in the Pacific Northwest. People need to come visit us here. It is absolutely gorgeous. Like, we just have these perfect days.
I was just talking about this with I went out with a group to dinner last night, and we were all talking about how there's like these different weddings everybody was going to. And we were all joking. We're like, oh, yeah, I'm just coming up with excuses to not go to weddings because I want to stay in the Pacific Northwest each weekend.
Yeah.
Because people are coming here, and this is where you do the fun stuff. Yeah.
This is the time for sure.
Yeah. What's awesome, too? And some of my most fond memories of just going out and riding with Matt, like on a weekday night. We're leaving the house at like 6 o'clock, and we go ride 50 miles. And we get home and the sun's still up for another hour.
9:15, it's still up.
It's still light out until almost 10 o'clock. It's nuts, and that's
crazy.
So spectacular. I love that.
It's so beautiful here in the summer. It's hard, because you get a lot of pressure to go travel in the summer, and man,
like I said, we're staying put. We'll do all of our traveling in the winter months.
Where else are you going to try? There's Mount St. Helens, Mount Hood. There's mountains, ocean, river, forest here. Where are you going to go that's going to be much better than that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Staying local, going camping, going bike riding. It's going to be glorious.
Oh, yeah. Ready for the summer.
All right. One last thing. Evan.
Today, as Jake had mentioned, is Memorial Day. And me, myself, having grown up a military brat, I always feel that it's important for me to talk about that shortly. My dad was in the Air Force. So was his stepfather and his father were both in the Air Force as well. And my mom's dad was in the Air Force. So my step-grandfather and my mom's dad were both very, very interesting Air Force stories. My mom's dad had a Purple Heart, actually.
Wow.
And my dad's stepfather, who was really the father that he knew and was my grandfather growing up, was actually a Tuskegee Airman, which is a little note. Like, if I ever say like interesting facts about my family, that's always the one. He was an incredible human being. Absolutely. We used to say we needed to sit there with a tape recorder and have him just talk into it for 2 days, and you could have written an incredible biography on that man. But that's all I really want to say. His name was Joe Conley, and he was an incredible human being. But yeah, that he was born in the Cayman Islands, and has a pretty crazy story on how he got up to America, but basically had to ride a boat through a hurricane to get up to America. I'm telling the very Spark Notes version of that story, but Went to college as a black man in a time when that was not very accepted, and ascended through the Air Force and was part of the Tuskegee Airmen, which, if you're listening to this and you're a little bit younger and you don't know who the Tuskegee Airmen were, it's definitely on Memorial Day worth a Google search.
Absolutely.
And you should probably sit there and read the whole thing, because it's a pretty incredible story. But yeah, just happy Memorial Day to everybody. And, I know it's the beginning of summer and very exciting, and it's just a day that, everybody can kind of remember those people. Everybody has a family or friend or somebody who served. So just always remember that.
Absolutely. Good call.
Cool. Matt, one last thing.
I think on this podcast we mentioned the Fallen Leaf Open Water Swim Series about 12 times.
Woo.
So
Let's do it a 13th.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
And
what is this again?
It is a free open water swim series in Camas, Washington. People can come and join and have partake in the fun. If you want to find out more information about it, I did do a video on my YouTube channel.
You sure did.
I think last week. So you can check that out. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/mlegrand, MLEGRAND. So
Not to
check
be
out the
mixed
video.
up with the pop singer, Matt Legrand.
There's there's a pop singer on YouTube as well named Matt Legrand. He's, only slightly better than I am.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the other place would be like Facebook. We have like a Facebook group for the Fallen Leaf Lake.
Oh, for the series, there's a Facebook group?
Yep,
Okay.
there's events and things like that. So if people are all on Facebook, and I know not everyone's on Facebook, but the thing to search would be Fallen Leaf Lake free open water swim series, and you should be able to find the group. Hop on there, ask to join. You will be approved, and you will be in. You'll get all the information about the race. There's even like a course map of how to go on the route and stuff like that for the race itself. And I will try to post more videos to the YouTube.
Cool. Yeah. And just so that people know, this is everything from your brand new entry, beginner, like baby steps, like my wife, for instance, to you've got pro triathletes that are going to be out there. Yeah. Evan Price.
And not exactly the strongest swimming pro triathletes, but there will be great swimmers
but still,
out there.
You've got a very diverse crowd, which is great because the newbies...
There was a ton of people there last year, too.
The newbies should not feel discriminated or discouraged or nervous about going to this. They should embrace this thing and come on out.
If I'm going back to myself when I was new to open water swimming, it was very scary for me too, because I did not. I mean, me and Matt did not come from swimming background. So I remember open water to me I was excited about it, but it was nerve wracking. Yeah. This would be the thing I wish I had an opportunity to go to at that time.
Only thing that I'll say if you're kind of new to swimming is, don't start in the front. I noticed a couple people were saying like, oh, I'm going to start at 6:15. Like that's the wrong time to start. Like we're gonna start at 6:30, and if you want to avoid traffic, go at 6:35 or something. So don't start in front of the fast group. Like start after that back group, because I don't want anyone getting run over in the water and things like that.
You don't want to get run over in the water. That could be a little nerve wracking.
So you'd run me over if I had my floaties on my arms and I was just out there plugging
Only
away?
if you're on a stand-up paddleboard, I would drag the paddleboard down with me. So.
That's right.
All right. My one last thing is that I have several one last things.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It says right in there.
But it's one.
It's like the asking the genie says you got one wish, and I'm going to wish for 3 more wishes.
A few last things.
The first one, short track is coming.
Oh, that's awesome.
Just put a bunch of posts up on the whole Dial Cycling team, our groups and pages and whatnot, getting people excited for that. It actually starts a week from tonight. So next week when we record this, it'll be the day that short track starts, and that's a fun time.
Wow.
It's at Portland International Raceway. It's on the infield, so it's all off-road. It's kind of like a little bit of like a cyclocross-esque kind of course. That's like the majority of it. So you're running through trees and ups and downs and all arounds, and they're kind of routing you all over the place. But then they route you into the motocross track, so you get to ride on the motocross track for about a third to half of the race, which is a blast. Yeah. So you're not jumping stuff, but you're rolling over like big tabletops and doubles and triples and berms and all that other fun stuff.
And most people are using mountain bikes for this, right?
The vast majority. Right. There are definitely people out there riding cross bikes, and they've got something for everybody. They've even got a little kiddie cross thing. They've got a little separate cycle, or it's kind of like a cyclocross, but miniature style for kids that are aged like 3 and up. And you got little kids out there on the Strider bikes, and
that's awesome.
They're all out there cruising around doing the whole thing. And then they've got your kids, Cat 1, get to do 1 lap of the whole course, and then they've got a juniors division, and then they've got everything broken out by age and ability level. So you've got your Cat 3 would be the lowest level, and it's set up for all of your age different groups from whatever 19 or 18 years old up to like whatever age, and you've got it all the way up to Cat 1, and then they've got the Men's Elite Pro, and then they've got single speed. So they've got something for everybody, and it's not one of those things where they've got so many different divisions that they're only like 4 or 5 people in a particular class. Some of these fields are like 30, 40 people deep. I mean, they're pretty stinking big, and you got to go out there and work your butt off to get to the front of that field. So they'll, line everybody up. There's 3 different waves that go out throughout the day after the kids stuff is done. And within each wave, I think there's usually 3 or 4 different people that they'll groups that they'll send out on the course in different waves. So it's pretty well organized. There's a lot of people. It's a lot of fun, and our team does a really good job of showing up. We'll usually have 25, 35, sometimes 40 people that'll show up just from our team for that race. So fun stuff. Come on out and join us.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yes. Another little one last thing. I started a Flickr page for the Dialed Cycling team.
Yeah.
So if you guys ever want to go check out some of the pictures that are there, I'm going to actually not just limit it to Dialed Cycling. There's other people that are going to be photographed while we're out there at like a race. So you might find some other, if you're out there racing and you knew that we're out there taking pictures, you might find yourself in there as well. Posting up all those pictures for free. They're super high res, so you can download them and have those for your use if you like. And that's just going into Flickr. Which is a pretty cool little place to store your photos, and search up Dialed Cycling, and that will point you in that direction. Another thing, I think it's going to be this Friday that we're going to start our little social Friday ride. Name to come soon. So going into a weekend, generally speaking, people are going to work their butts off, or they're going to have a race, or there's going to be a hard training ride or whatnot. So the last thing you want to be doing is going out and having a throwdown on a Friday night. Yeah. So a lot of times, though, if you're going to have a race, you're going to want to go ride easy and just do a little kind of keep the legs fresh, maybe a couple little openers in there to play around. Or if you want to come out and ride with our team or our group or whatever, whoever's coming out, and you want to get to know us a little bit more, and you're coming to maybe one of our Saturday rides, it's kind of hard to talk because we're all out there just dropping the hammer. Yeah. And sometimes people feel a little bit intimidated to show up to these rides because we do ride relatively hard, and that might be a deterrent from them to even come out and get to know us to see if it's going to be a good fit for them. So what we're going to be doing is having these little social Friday rides. We'll be posting these up on our different media channels, and I'll try and actually post it up on the Dial podcast for those that might be interested here locally to join us. And it'll be just a short ride, probably an hour and 20 minutes. We're going to ride to a destination. We might even stop and get a cup of coffee or an ice cream or something like that. We'll see. And then we'll head on back, and it's going to be completely 100% casual, conversational paced so that anybody can show up. We've got juniors who will be coming out to join us. We've got some of our new people that are going to be wanting to join the team to come out and join us. It's a good place for us to get to know you and answer questions. And hopefully you can meet some of the guys on the Dial podcast. Not that that's a thing that you need to be proud of, but
Lance will probably be there. Yeah.
No, that'd be awesome.
So kind of looking forward to that. And then one last thing. There's a gentleman who has a YouTube page here locally, and I wanted to give him a shout out. Our team caught wind of this, and they have been posting it on all of our social media, well, basically on our closed group. So not the whole world can't see what we've got going on, but every time he posts one of these videos up, it actually gets reposted to our social media places where our team congregates. And he's been posting up all of the PIR races, and I've seen this guy. They're comical. They're pretty funny. I love his analysis. Yep. And he actually gives a shout out in there. He said that he listens to the Dial podcast, and he knows what we're all up to. and he's calling us out for our shenanigans of going out there and trying to attack and whatnot. And I thought that was really cool. But in that vein, I wanted to say thank you for listening. And I wanted everybody to, because we talk about PR so often.
I love race videos too, just in general. Yeah. I love when guys post race videos.
Breaks them,
he does a great job.
Yeah, a PR race is usually about an hour, and he basically shrinks it down to maybe 8, 10, 12 minutes or something like that with commentary.
Good commentary. It's funny.
Yeah.
I love
and
his
you
stuff,
get to see a lot of the people, and I know everybody out there just about who's racing, well, from our team, and then a lot of the other folks as well. But go check it out. It's a really kind of cool thing. Subscribe to his channel so that you can get some updates and get to know him. His name, if I'm not mistaken, is Dylan Wiggins, and his YouTube channel is Swap Face 2, but that's spelled with a C, so it's CWAP Face, F-A-C-E, and then the number 2. You can go on there and to his channel and subscribe and check out all the videos. And a lot of times what we're talking about is something that you can see unfold right there on his YouTube channel. So, Dylan, thank you for posting those up. Keep up the good work, and we appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for listening too again. So those are my one last things.
Great. That's awesome.
I like it.
Any closing notes? You guys ready to go enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day?
I think we're good.
Are we going to go for a ride?
We should. We need to get in something before it rains.
Yeah.
Is it going to rain today?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, you're killing me, Smalls.
Yep. I know. Yep.
All right. Well, Lance, we hope you're having fun out there at your discoteca.
Yes.
It's having fun with that. You guys, thank you for coming in and sharing your Memorial Day with us here. So good catching up with you. All the folks out there listening, thank you for coming back for another one, and we really do appreciate that. Say hi to us on our Facebook and our Instagram pages at Dial Podcast, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our podcast and give us a good rating, because that really does help us. We want to push this thing into the next stratosphere, and we can't do that without you, so thank you. Thank you for listening. You guys all have a great week. Bye for now.